Hi, it's Pastor Yummy with Life 360 Weston. Thanks for joining us today. Now, this morning we are headed into the book of Galatians. If you've been following along with us, you know that we are going through the Bible, not the full Bible, the New Testament in 1 year. So we're following a 5 by 5 by 5 plan by the Navigators. So you can get that. If you don't have it, just check in the description and you can get that so you know exactly where we are. So we read one chapter a day, 5 days a week. Should take about 5 minutes to read it. But I just want to encourage you to do what I'm doing, to really think about this and to meditate on it, because that's how we get the Word of God in our heart, is by really thinking through it and meditating on it. So we're going to look here a little bit, just a little introduction to the book of Galatians. Chapter 1, we're going to talk about maybe 3 main parts of Galatians chapter 1. First, as in all of Paul's letters, he gives a brief introduction, introducing himself as the author. And then second, he is giving us a little, I would call it sort of a thesis sentence about a thesis statement, maybe a few sentences. Of course, Paul doesn't do anything in short, but he's going to give us a brief introduction to what this letter is about. And then in the last part of chapter 1, he is going to share for these believers in Galatia, remind them of his background. So he's going to give a little bit of background information about himself, what he was like before he had a contact with Jesus, and then what that did and how that affected his life. So let's start with Galatians chapter 1. I just want to read verse 6 through 9 to you right now before we get started. So verse 6, it says, I am amazed that you are so quickly deserting him who called you by the grace of Christ for a different gospel, which is not just another account, but there are some who are disturbing you and want to distort the gospel of Christ. Verse 8, but even if we or an angel from heaven should preach to you a gospel contrary to what we have preached to you, he is to be accursed. Verse 9, as we have said before, even now I say again, if anyone is preaching to you a gospel contrary to what you received, he is to be accursed. So, strong words, a lot of exclamation points in here. So what is this saying? Verse 6 starts out, I am amazed that you are so quickly deserting him who called you by the grace of Christ for a different gospel. So the first question is, why is Paul amazed? Why is he astonished? Why is he surprised? Well, verse 6 tells us that he is surprised that people are following a different gospel. He's surprised that he was with them. When he was with them, they were so strongly following what he was telling them, and it seems like they really got the message. And now he's saying, wow, I'm surprised. What are you doing? He's surprised that they are following a different gospel, deserting Christ, following a different gospel. Well, what does that mean? What is he referring to? What is this different gospel? I think verse 6 also has some insight into that. It says, that you are so quickly deserting him who called you by the grace of Christ for a different gospel. So you'll see in this book, and as we went through the book of Acts and the book of Hebrews, that grace is so important here, especially to the Jews of this time, not really understanding grace. They're just coming out, remember, of the law. And so this grace is, it is hard for them to get that, and it's even hard for us to get it too. But so that gives us a little hint. Um, uh, so quickly deserting him who called you by the grace of Christ. So we're going to see in this book, he's going to talk about the difference between grace and works. The the Jews, the Judaizers of that time, they want people to go back to works. Well, great, Christ came, he's the Messiah, but you still need to follow all of the Old Testament rules, regulations. You need to be circumcised or you are not saved. So that is the big difference, and that we're going to see that in this book. So what else do we have here? Verse 7, which is not this what they have been following is not just another account, but there are some who are disturbing you and want to distort the gospel of Christ. But then verses 8 and 9 are so strong when it says that if an angel from heaven, and you have to remember angels were very highly regarded then, so even if an angel from heaven should come down and preach another gospel, that don't believe it, it is not true, and this person is to be accursed. So I had to do a little quick research. What does it really mean? What did they mean when they saw this word accursed? So it is someone that would be considered as devoted to destruction. And at the time, it carried a strong connotation of being cut off, someone cut off from the faith community, cut off from the very favor of God. So Paul's using a really strong word here, is that no, the old covenant is passed away. The new covenant is through Jesus is here, and it is through grace by faith that we are saved, and that no, men do not have to be circumcised today, and Christ came to fulfill this, and he was the Messiah. So he's just introducing this in chapter 1, and then as we go on to the rest of the book, and it is a very short book, only 6 chapters, so we're going to go through this pretty quickly. But anyway, I just wanted to encourage you in your reading today. We will be, of course, in Galatians Chapter 2 tomorrow. I hope to see you then, or that you will see me then. And please put any comments. If you have some questions, please write them in the comments. If you have prayer requests, we'd love to pray over those too. So thank you for your time today. God bless you in your reading. And remember, it is so important. It is that we how can we remain strong in our faith? Faith comes by hearing the word of God, not just by having heard. So let's keep hearing the word of God. Let's keep memorizing it, meditating on it throughout the day, and even thinking of these. I always look, when I'm looking at the reading, I think, okay, what am I going to really think about today? What does God want to put in my heart? And what is standing out to me is that Paul, he's just amazed that these people are following a different gospel and just going back to works. So as I think about that today, I'm thinking about, well, what in my life, how am I just wanting to not accept the grace that of Christ and the grace of that, and how I sometimes just want to be justified by my own good works and not by Christ's finished work. So that's what I'm thinking about, meditating on today. So God bless you, and we will see you tomorrow. I hope you have a great day. Bye for now.